your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Check. That's check. Enter it now.
Now, a look at traffic on Rip City Radio 620.
Come on, move it!
The Papa Murphy's Traffic Center changed the way you pizza. It's a stall holding up northbound I-205 in the right lane at Airport Way. I-5 North is a little crowded. Marine Drive to the Interstate Bridge and near Forest Grove. Flooding keeps Southwest Fernhill Road closed both ways between Southwest Geiger Road and Taylor Way. Gail Cunningham, KEX Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. That's Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Hey, Portland, Chad here from my friends at Power Kia. Start the new year in a new Kia from Power Kia, Oregon's #1 volume Kia dealer. Lease a brand new 2024 Forte LXS for just $289 down and $289 per month for 36 months with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Power Kia off I-5 exit 256 in Salem or visit PowerKia.com.
MSRP $22,130. Offer shown based on $289 due at lease signing plus tax, title, license, and registration fees. No security deposit required. Inventory current at time of media release. Available for well-qualified customers on approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer expires January 31st, 2024.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
That meeting could have been an email.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
Look at all the things my neck can do now.
At Mattress Firm, we know the right mattress matters. That's why we give you 120 nights to make sure it's right for you, or your money back. Plus, you get free and fast delivery. Shop in-store or online at mattressfirm.com. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com. Now, a Rip City forecast.
Showers will continue into the afternoon. Snow still falling generally above 1,000 feet. Daytime highs will be in the low 40s. Tomorrow, winter weather watch goes into effect. Chilling down in the metro tomorrow with rain changing over to snow in the afternoon. At least an inch or two of accumulation is possible on the valley floor. In the K2 Storm Tracker Weather Center, I'm Rhonda Shelby.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt Tax Services, home of the Money Today guarantee. Can't wait weeks for your tax refund? Then don't. At Jackson Hewitt, get money today if you're approved for a no-fee refund advance loan on a prepaid card. Book today at jacksonhewitt.com. No-fee refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio. But before we get into basketball, if you are watching on the YouTube, you notice that I am wearing my Oregon Duck zip-up today because I am one proud Duck today, because the last 24 hours for Duck fan has been a roller coaster. Everyone was feeling good. Oh, man, good win over Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. It was, hey, we lost to Washington twice, but it was by a combined 6 points. We were right there with a team that went to the national championship game. Yeah, it's your rival, but this was a good year. Dan Lanning put together a heck of a recruiting class. Things are looking up. Things are going to be special in Eugene. And then the one thing that we feared the most happened. A job opened up at Alabama. Oh, my gosh. Why? There's like 2 jobs that most Duck fans will tell you. There are 2 jobs that they would fear Dan Lanning would leave Oregon for, and that is Alabama and that is Georgia. So when Alabama opened up, all of us Duck fans were like, oh, gosh, here we go again. As Yogi Berra says, deja vu all over again. Willie Taggart gets the job. Then his dream job opened up. He bolts. Mario Cristobal gets the job. He feels like he's going to be here for a minute. Miami opens up. He bolts. Dan Lanning gets the job. One of his schools that he's very, very connected to, could be considered a dream job, opens up. Oh, man. Oh, no. Please don't leave. And then this morning about 9 o'clock, he dropped a video. Said, you worried about your coach leaving? Come play for us. I'm not going anywhere. And Duck fans rejoiced, as they should, because I understand losing your coach happens. But if you would have lost your 3rd straight coach after a short tenure because his dream job opened up, I might have cried, but I didn't have to. So thank you, Dan Lanning, for making me have a good day. And go Ducks, as always. This is Blazers Game Day, though, so let's get into some Blazer talk right off the bat. Here's the thing. Everything kind of connects, right? So, speaking of football, what happened up in Seattle yesterday? There was breaking news that the Seattle Seahawks have, parted ways with longtime head coach Pete Carroll. And I know how this roller coaster works. It's already started in the YouTube chat from a man, Fritz. He says I'm like a doctor trying to keep everybody stitched together, make sure they get through any tough times. But you saw them part ways with Pete Carroll, and I know what immediately comes to mind for a Blazer fan. Oh, gosh, here it is. You guys, those are owned by that's the same ownership group. What are they doing up there? Are they even concerned about winning? What about this team? I get it. I wouldn't worry. The Blazers have a very firm grasp on what they're trying to do right now. Okay? We've been talking about this rebuild forever, Fritz. Okay? We've been talking about what's going on here, about Scoot, about Shea, about Ant. What's the future of Jeremy Grant? What's the future of Malcolm Brogdon? There is a designated lane that they are in. They have an idea what they want to do. It feels weird because we're not used to rebuild mode, right? I think they have faith in Chauncey. Now, we've been going down this rabbit hole forever. There are things I like about Chauncey and things I don't like. There are some people who just love him no matter what. There are some people who dislike him no matter what. It is tough to get a full gauge on him. Like I said, he's playing, 7 rookies or second-year guys just the other day in that loss to New York. So it is rough, but they have an idea where they're going. And when you start to see, okay, this team is the ownership, they're not owned by Paul Allen anymore. They're operated by the trust. They traded Russell Wilson. Then they traded Damian Lillard. Now they just got rid of the only coach to ever win him a Super Bowl. What's going on? One thing always comes up, and Fritz brought it up in the YouTube chat. Like, I fear that, Jody may be doing things to eventually make a move of the Portland Trailblazers to Seattle easier to do. Okay, I'm here to tell you that is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. It will not happen. Seattle is going to get a basketball team. That, I think, is pretty much about a 99% guarantee right now for everything that I've heard, and a lot of you have heard as well. It's not like I'm keeping a secret. But when Seattle does get its team, the NBA wants to balance things out, balance East and West a little bit. It will be via expansion as the NBA gets 2 more teams, levels out East and West, moves some of those teams, maybe it's a Memphis or a New Orleans, into the Eastern Conference, and adds probably a Las Vegas and a Seattle via expansion, not movement. So Portland is not moving to Seattle. Also, league would have to approve that. I just don't think they're going to approve that. A team that does a pretty good job selling tickets, selling merch. Stadium is going through some minor upgrades over the last few years. But I'll tell you this much. People say I'm kind of crazy, but for being a stadium built in 1995, Moda Center holds up remarkably well. Remarkably well. And I've been to every single arena in the NBA except for Houston. It's the only one. I got to fix that. I got to get to that one. And Moda Center holds up well. Location a little iffy, traffic-wise, parking-wise, etc. But the stadium itself holds up well. And we all know stadiums are the reason teams move, right? That's, Kia Arena's a dump. You're gone. Wasn't because fan support. So you don't have to worry about Portland Trailblazers. Hopefully that eases your fear, Fritz, because I know you're not the only one. Because as soon as Seattle does something, Blazer fan jumps on board too, like, that's the same ownership group. What does that mean for the Blazers? Sometimes things are connected, sometimes they're not. Pete Carroll's a great coach. Maybe it was just time to move on. Terry Stotts was a great coach. Maybe it was just time to move on. Now you just got to make sure you knock the next hire out of the park. That's what you got to do. That's absolutely what you got to do. Now, speaking of the actual basketball, though, that we witnessed, oh, man, it's been a rough go for your Portland Trailblazers. It truly has been. This road trip has not been friendly to the team from the Pacific Northwest. 7-game road trip, game 6 of that road trip going on tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder before going up and over to Minnesota to take on the best team in the Western Conference, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay, so this thing is not going to get any easier. But for the Trailblazers, this is a rundown of how things have gone. And I really think the wheels started to wobble a little bit on this team's performance, starting with that tough loss against the Washington Wizards. 118-117 game they really had no business losing. Okay, after that, it was a 20-point loss to the Warriors, an upset victory over the Kings, but then they got walloped by the Spurs. Then they got one back without Victor Wembanyama on the floor. And then it was same dose of all the old stuff. 21-point loss to the Suns. Check. 29-point loss to the Mavs. Check. 6-point loss to the Mavs 2 nights later. Check. And then they put it all back together, right? Put it all back together. They had a game against the Brooklyn Nets where you're like, okie dokie, here we go. The slow starts out of the window, giving away a lead out of the window, having to claw back kind of out of the window. No, ball is moving, defense is good, everybody's scoring, things are looking up. They grab the 134-127 victory at Barclays Center. Oh, yeah, I like that. Who didn't like that? Great victory, and the team was playing like they had played in early November, basically, to past Thanksgiving, kind of early December. Playing tough. Right? They're playing hard. They're playing fast. They're making teams work. You sit here and you go, okay, even if they lose, at least it's fun. At least it's fun because they're playing an entertaining brand of basketball. And that's what got them the win in Brooklyn. So now you're starting to think, you're like, okay, against a team like the Knicks, who is 7 games over 500. Yeah, might be able to steal one at Madison Square Garden. We're feeling good. But then those old habits reared their ugly head. Portland comes out in the first quarter against the Knicks, is outscored 38-22. And then 25-19 in the second. They only scored 20 points in the third, 23 in the fourth. Now, the fourth quarter, they actually outscored the Knicks 23-15, but it was all over. The Knicks had put in the end of their bench. Let's go. Phillips pulled out his starters at the end of the third because he's like, we need fresh legs because there's going to be a back-to-back coming. And it was a rough one. Nobody on the bench for the Blazers scored in double figures. Anthony Simons had just 12 points after a very good night against the Nets. Scoot Henderson had just 8 points and 4 assists. His usage wasn't super high. He only took 8 shots. Jeremy Grant had a good game, 8 of 16, 21 points. But again, no one else really did. And it's really easy to point out, like, I in the post game, I was one. I don't like the slow starts. I don't like feeling like you're not prepared, which is something Coach Billups said post game, right? I don't like that. But at the same time, when you look at this box score, guys, when you look at this box score and you go, look, okay, here's your starters. Chimani Kamara, rookie. Duop Breath, rookie. Scoot Henderson, rookie. 3 of your 5 starters are rookies. Now let's look at the bench. Justin Minaya. He's a second-year guy, but I think he played 6 games his rookie season. All intense, he's a rookie. But we'll call him a sophomore for this. Okay? Chris Murray, rookie. Ajubaji, rookie. Shaden Sharp, second-year guy. Ryan Rupert, rookie. That's 5 guys on your bench that are rookies or second-year guys. Put that with the 3 guys in your starting lineups. That is 8 rookies or second-year guys. And only one of those guys is a true second-year guy. So let's just say 7 rookies, basically, in your starting lineup or large chunk of your rotation. I don't know if there's a coach on the planet who's getting great games out of that lineup. That's tough to do because these guys are learning as they go. They are so used to being the big fish. Now they're the small fish in the big pond. Like whoa, howdy. I'm not ready. I'm not used to this current. I'm not used to not being the biggest fish. I'm not used to any of this. Water's a little bit deeper than I thought, too. I mean, look what's going on in San Antonio. And you could say, oh, they're in tank mode. They're also just not playing good basketball. And it's because they're a young team with Victor Wembanyama at the core. No point guard to pass him the ball. The guy's 8 feet tall, rolls to the rim, and will be wide open in the paint. No one can get him the ball. That's why you started to hear rumors about possible reunion with former guard DeJounte Murray, who's in Atlanta right now playing with Trae Young. It's tough to get those great performances. So that's why in the history of this league, I mean, you don't see a team that is full of rookies go on and win the championship. It takes time. Now, some of these young teams, they click and they click fast. Got a guy like Damian Lillard here in Portland when you had him. Oh, he clicked fast. He had some steps his rookie year where he looked like a rookie still, but you knew he was going to be a star the minute he stepped on the court. Steph Curry, right? But even they took time. The Golden State Warriors didn't win the championship the very first year Steph Curry put on that uniform. Took time. It absolutely took time. Speaking of the Warriors, we can't go throughout this entire show without talking about what's going down in the Bay because things are getting crazy in Warrior land. Let's take a break, though. When we get back, I think we're going to do a little what's the Scoot action here, what's going on with Scoot Henderson. Like I said, box score says bad. I still don't think so. I like what I see from Scoot.
Did you get thick wool socks for Christmas? It's a darn good sign your house is drafty. Do you know your...
Office Furniture Reborn has a huge selection of colors and sizes to choose from. So drop by Office Furniture Reborn's huge showroom just off Pacific Highway in 217 or visit www.officefurniturereborn.com.
Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. It is time for What's the Scoot? And what is the Scoot? Scoot has been firmly implanted back into the starting lineup. Started the season there, then went back into the bench, and now he's back in the lineup. And games have been good. The last few have been a little bit rough. I mean, in that game against the Nets, he wasn't there for the fourth quarter and overtime as Coach Billups went with the hot hand in the crunch time minutes as the Blazers were looking for the go-ahead bucket. I believe it was Ant, Shea, Tamani, Grant, and Duop Reith on the floor. That was the closing lineup. And they didn't play in overtime. And then you go to Madison Square Garden, playing in, the most storied arena in the entire NBA. I think as Travis Demers pointed out in the pregame show ahead of that game, said that he asked Scoot about what it was like being in there, the unique lighting. Like, it just feels like you're under a spotlight. And you are the lights and the glamour of NYC. And he went out there and he had an 8-point game, 4 assists, just 3 of 8 shooting. And I think a lot of people look at the box score only and go, oh, come on. Really? Only 8 points? Only 4 assists? I look at it, I'm like, okay. Duop Reith, he's been good, but we need to understand where he is overall, right? And he didn't have a great game, just 7 points. Tamani Kamara in that lineup, not an offensive guy. Anthony Simons, off shooting night by anybody's standards, especially his. Malcolm Brogdon, just 2 points. Matisse Thybulle, a goose egg. Shaedon Sharpe, who'd been putting up consistent, 20-point games, 18-point games, whatever, coming off the bench, looking good. Yeah, he had 9. Nobody outside of Jeremy Grant, who had 21, was shooting the ball well or looked good doing it. So, of course, Scoot's assist numbers are going to be low. And then just in general, when you have a lineup that does have a Duop Reith, who's become a pretty consistent shooter, so you want to try to get the ball into his hands. You have Jeremy Grant, who is a great scorer right now. And then you have Simons, who's your best player. Obviously, Shaedon Sharpe as well. You're not going to get as many shots if you're Scoot, right? So there's going to be those nights where he just has 8 attempts. You would just like him to have more assists at the end of the night. If he comes out of the game and everyone else was playing well and he had 10 points and 12 assists, no one's going to be upset, right? But you can look at this one and say, oh, that's a bad night for Scoot. I don't think it was. I think it was a bad night for everybody. And then Scoot's box score is just a kind of a product of that. Now, I'm waiting for the game, just like many of you are, that he puts the team on his back, right? And he has just a monster performance. A monster performance. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Now, if you want to join the conversation, you can do so, 503-248-0620, or head on over to youtube.com, 503, don't dial the number when you go to YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in Rip City Radio, we'll pop up there. Where it's interesting because Michael says, Burkhardt, it's okay. You could say we suck. Okay. It doesn't change my analysis of the team, Michael. This is what it is. I have been saying this for quite some time, right? This team is only going to win a handful of games. This team is not a playoff team. This team is playing, like I just broke down for you with the New York Knicks, 8 rookies or second-year guys within your main rotation, essentially 7 rookies because Minaya really doesn't count as a second-year guy. Yes, this team is not good. We know that. It's not a secret. I don't have to say it to hammer down. Now it's truth. We know. We know. That's why I pointed out it makes it rough to fully gauge Coach Billups for this season alone because Greg Popovich isn't taking this team to the playoffs. Spoelstra isn't taking this team to the playoffs. This team, that's why, Michael, I've said since day one, my word of the year is lumps because this team is gonna take them. And they're taking them right now. This is a long road trip, a lot of good teams, a lot of uncertainty. They're going to figure it out in the long run. I have faith. I like what I see. but I'm not sugarcoating anything. Like, yeah, this team's really good. I don't know why they lost to New York. We all know it. We all know it. So, yeah, you're right. It is okay to say it, and it's not like I haven't been. Let's just be honest. Come on now. Now, back to the team. It's a great comment, though, Michael. Thank you. It gets me going. It gives me good content. You're a master of that. And you guys, if you got a comment and you want me to chime in on it, that's what you do. YouTube.com, Rip City Radio, get in on there. I appreciate it, as always. But, Michael, you're right. Team's not good. Team's not good. I'll say it for you. All right, now let's go look at this game, though, against New York one more time. And we did talk about Scoot Henderson. The other main guard on this team right now is Anthony Simons. And Anthony Simons, like I said, had a rough game. He is your best player. There is no question about that. But the game he had in New York was not a good one. Like I said, not by just his standard, just about by any standard. 4 of 14 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3, just 12 points for a guy who can put 20 of them up without even thinking twice. You blink, man, he's got 10. So rough night for him. And when your best player is having a rough night, you're going to have a real hard time getting the other guys going, again, especially when guys like Tamani Kamara, Duop Reith, you played Chris Murray, Ajubaju. These aren't offensive guys. So when your biggest offensive, best offensive player is struggling, have fun, because who's going to pick up that slack? It's going to be pretty rough. But what we need to do is I want to head back in time to New York City, where after the game, Anthony Simons talked to the media.
And so, just in general, what would you say kind of went wrong for you guys tonight? It seems like they kind of jumped in early, and it was pretty tough right from the jump.
Yeah, they made a lot of shots. Whether it was contested or not, they made a lot of shots. Credit to them for, making a lot of shots tonight, and we got good looks, so we just couldn't knock them down tonight. So I think that was kind of the story of the game.
I know you missed a good chunk of it, but kind of how would you describe the way this road trip has gone for you guys so far?
It's been obviously some tough games in Dallas, and then it started in the Knicks. It started for me in Dallas, but overall obviously some tough games, but like I said before, we all keeping positive mindsets. It's not getting too low. I think maybe the lowest we ever got was after the Dallas game when we got blew out twice in a row. So, but for the most part, everybody's keeping their spirits, and that's what we kind of look for too, as well, is that everybody is staying together, because it's easy to. It's hard. You're not winning that many games, and it's easy to just disconnect. From the season and everything's going on, but everybody's been still connected and understanding, there's a process to get to, a team that wins a lot of games. So, that's the one thing I'm most proud about the team, is that we continue to stay together and go into these games, with positive mindsets throughout the whole thing.
Why do you think it is that you guys have been able to do that? What do you think has gone into that?
I think it's just, we all got great relationships with each other, and there's never any bad blood between each other. And the coaches do a great job of keeping us together. You know what I mean? So, credit to them. They do a great job of making sure we stay engaged in everything we got to do. And as players, everybody has good relationships with each other. So, it's easy for us to stay together.
I think fans and people who watch the team know that you mentioned it. It's hard to get wins in this league. But do you feel like you guys are getting better? Do you feel like you're making improvements or gradually becoming the team that eventually you want to be?
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't, sometimes it might not look good on the box score, but even if, we do one thing better the next game that we did before, that's an improvement. And it might not, obviously it might not look pretty all the time, but, internally we understand that we need to get better at, and if we can improve, maybe just one thing each and every game, then that's a step in the right direction for us. So I think we just need to continue to get better at, the details of each and every game, and, just experience from all the young guys. They got to experience each and every team, you know what I mean? Each and every player that we go against, they have to go through this in order to get to where we want to get to.
And there is Anton. I want to stop on that final comment there, because I think that's something that's really interesting that maybe we don't think about as much, should. And it's just the fact, these guys have to learn too. Like, these young guys have to learn what they're playing against. What I mean by that is Ant knows what to expect from Julius Randle. He knows what Jalen Brunson's about. He knows what Josh Hart is about, right? He knows what OG Anunoby's about. Tonight, he knows that SGA is going to absolutely bring it, right? He hasn't played against Chet, so he's going to learn that one a little bit. But in Minnesota, too, yep, he knows Cat's game. He knows Gobert's game. He knows Anthony Edwards' game, Michael Conley, etc. These guys don't know yet. And for some of these young guys, man, when you talk about tired legs, like Scoot, even in the G League Ignite, he ain't used to a 7-game roadie. Neither is Tamani Kamara. Neither is Duop Reith. And these things wear on you. I'll tell you, as someone who traveled alongside the team, but fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your view, didn't have to play NBA basketball at a world-class level. Road trips are exhausting. 7 games, multiple airports, multiple hotels. Whew, no thanks. It's going to wear anybody out. And to the Fritz who asks, is this cherry Kool-Aid? No, it is not. It is some Optimum Nutrition Amino Energy. I need a little caffeine to get through these days. So I have this energy to get through the show, right? Gotta have some fun. Of course, like I said to start the show, Dan Lanning not leaving for Alabama was pretty much the life force that I needed to get through this one. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers. Oh man, Mike Oakes cut to that camera quick. Y'all caught me in my my commercial resting pose. Oh man. Before we get to the coach's corner, I do have to shout out my daughter who's watching. Little Tegan is on the couch right now, and she is not a fan of commercials apparently. She's watching the YouTube stream on TV, and every time Dad gets put off so we can go to a commercial, she gets mad. So I apologize to my wife who has to deal with, 4 more commercial breaks. I apologize. All right, it is the coach's corner, though, so let's head out to the coach's corner, where actually, yes, it was a rough night. We get that. But then the team had to travel to OKC, where they're playing the Thunder tonight, and they had a quick little shoot-around today, and Coach Billups talked to the media.
Coach, I know you and R are really focusing on SGA being at the nail, wanting to go downhill. What's the best way to defend that?
Man, he's seen it all. He's seen all the coverages. I think you gotta blitz him sometime. You gotta switch it and go back and double him after the switch. And he's just so good at getting to his spots. And because truth of the matter is, the same shot that he can get on Scoot or Ant is the same shot that he can get on Jeremy or Tumani. He's just that good. So you got to show him different looks and different bodies, yeah.
What did it mean when you guys would say get burnt?
Get burned is actually one of their favorite plays that we are going over in ways that we got to try to stop it because it's one of their favorites.
So it's burned, not burnt?
No, burn.
Okay,
no.
get burned. Gotcha. So Chris Murray and Ryan Rupert, getting some extra run. What have you liked about their energy and effort?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in that type of position when you never know when you're going to play or if and when you will, you have to show up every single night and you got to play with extreme energy, and effort. And, when you're in those positions, your goal is to try to earn the trust of your teammates and the staff. And that's the only way that you do that is you exert all the energy that you have out there. And those guys, they play extremely hard when you put them in.
I think it was Dallas where Ike stayed later with Baji to work on lobs. I heard you guys talking about that again tonight. How big of a weapon can that be for you?
It could be a big-time weapon for us. I mean, Ibu is just so raw. We had one in the game the other night against the Knicks, and Scoot got into the lane and he threw it up to Ibu, but he wasn't ready. He didn't have his footing right and together. So it's a coordination thing, and again, he's just a raw athlete, and he plays extremely hard, so it takes some practice.
So there you have it. That's Coach Billups' take from practice today, talking about some of those young guys. And I've said this one over the last few games as well, and I'm not going to take anything away from guys like Ibu Baji, I think he's been so good, all things considered. I mean, I've said this before to you guys. Dude, this guy was, 5th, 6th deep on your center rotation, is going to be a Rip City remix guy. And here he is being forced to play meaningful minutes. That's a surprise. And I think more surprising is he's taking advantage of them. Against the Knicks, he 4 points, only 2 of 5 shooting, but 7 rebounds, 2 block shots, 2 steals. That's great. And a couple big blocks against the Nets as well. I mean, if this team gets fully healthy, say that they had DeAndre Ayton ready to go and Robert Williams wasn't hurt, then, yeah, he's back down at Chiles Center playing for the Rip City Remix, right? And Duop Reith is your third string guy. That's if he's getting in, because Jabari Walker's your small ball center. There's all other sorts of questions. Of course, don't get me started. Maybe you could throw Reith power forward, have some fun, right? But the whole point is, I mean, on a fully healthy team, Ibu Baji is not sniffing the Rose Quarter, right? He's just not. But he is right now, and he has an opportunity, and I'm not going to knock that guy. What a great story. What a great mentality. When you listen to him talk, it's so humble. And to go out there and have good games, all things considered, in meaningful minutes. Yeah, I like what I see from Ibu Baji just for that hustle and heart alone, man. I think that matters. I think it absolutely does. Now, Duop Reith is always a topic of conversation. People talking about him in the YouTube chat right now. I mean, Duop Reith has been silver lining, right? Through all this rough season, through all these bad losses, out here kind of grabbing this starting center spot. But I mean, when DeAndre Ayton gets back, it's going to go back to him. But Duop Reith is firmly putting himself in the conversation to be a backup center long term in this league. He's playing so well right now. He's only averaging 8 points and just under 4 rebounds on the season. But again, being thrust into this starting lineup, how can you not like what you see from them? The way he spaces the floor, the way he attacks the glass. I mean, yeah, he's quickly becoming a fan favorite. You can just look over, some of the last 3 games where he got to start. He's averaging 12.7 points, 8.9 rebounds, and a block shot in those games that he's starting. So again, starters minutes and starters rotation, that matters. It obviously matters in the long run. Now, what else though? What else can you hang your hat on about this team? Because as people are saying in the YouTube chat, which you can join if you want, just head over to youtube.com and type in Rip City Radio. And that is what they're talking about is this OKC team. This OKC team is really, really good. SGA might be one of the top 5 players in the league at this point. And Chet Holmgren, in my opinion at least, has a pretty good grasp on bringing home the Rookie of the Year trophy. He's been incredible. And you like what you see. Again, he comes into the league with a little bit of a health concern. That's why he missed his entire first season while he rehabbed that injury. So then you get the people who are like, oh, he's not a rookie. No, he's a rookie because there's a difference between sitting down all year and watching and then actually playing. And now that he's actually playing, like I said, he's having a good year. He is. Let's look at this number right here. I know he's at 30 minutes. He's the 3rd leading scorer on the team at 17.9 points per game. He's averaging under 8 rebounds, but almost 2.6 blocks per game. Yeah, almost 3 blocks a game. Yeah, you're doing pretty darn good there, my man. Spaces the floor well, moves well. The team's still getting good defense out of Lugansdort, who's also playing good offensively at 11 points per game. Then there's that Josh Giddey fellow, and don't sleep on Jalen Williams, who's also having an absolutely incredible year as well at 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Not bad at all. This is a great young team, and it's all anchored around one of the best young guards in the game, if not one of the best players all around in the game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you just know him as SGA. He is averaging 31.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 2.4 steals as well. In a game that is just predicated by how good offenses are, here's a guy who at the guard position makes scoring hard for everybody because he is one of the best guards around. Best guards around. Fun to watch. Plays a great game. He's obviously a good leader. He's a name you got to talk about. When you want to go get talent, like Portland wanted to get talent around Dame, you have to give away potential talent to get talent, right? So to get Paul George, it took SGA. Here he is leading OKC. After the bad shot, everyone thought it was going to take forever for OKC to rebound. They rebounded pretty quickly because they got good young talent, good GM, building that thing right. I like the way they play. And people always talk about how rabid the Portland fan base is. Oklahoma City's up there too. I've been there a lot for games. Always sold out. Fans love that team. It's a pretty unique situation when there was no pro sports team and all of a sudden one comes rolling into town. It's fun. It's a fun place down there. Bricktown's pretty cool. If you ever get a chance, sounds weird, get to OKC. Fun experience down there. And hopefully the Blazers can leave OKC with a surprising, shocking victory tonight. It's going to be rough. We're going to continue to break it down throughout the show, but it is going to be rough. Now, I apologize once again to my daughter at home because it is time for a commercial break. So Dad's going to leave the screen for a few minutes. When we come back, we're going to hit you with a game day scoreboard, get you caught up on the scores around the league today, get you ready for any games that are about to be played because there's plenty of them. Oh, we're just going to have some fun. Continue to talk about this Blazer team as they get ready to take on the Thunder down in OKC. It'll be right
Raising your expectations of comfort.
All right, welcome back into Blazers Game Day. It is now time for a scoreboard report. And, of course, not a lot of action to talk about because the Blazers got an early game, right? So let's tell you what is going to go down tonight at 4:30 on TNT. The Celtics are in Milwaukee to take on Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, and the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Holiday making a return to Milwaukee. Jason Tatum leading the Celtics with 28 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists per game as the two head honchos of the East match up. That should be an absolutely thriller of a basketball game. At 5 o'clock right here on Rip City Radio, the Portland Trail Blazers, your Portland Trail Blazers, take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City looking to grab their 26th victory of the season. Blazers going to have their handful against SGA. And the favorite for Rookie of the Year right now, Chet Holmgren. At 5:30, the New York Knicks are down in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. And at 7 o'clock in Los Angeles, the Suns match up with the Lakers. Now, there is one scorer that went final today. That is the Brooklyn Nets, who are the away team, the Cavaliers, the home team. But the game was not in Cleveland. It was in Paris, France. NBA Paris game is what that was. And the Nets, 102. The Cavs, 111. In the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, Donovan Mitchell, 45 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists for the Cavs. And probably the most important score of the day, the Oregon Ducks 1, Alabama 0. That's right. Dan Lanning's going nowhere. Alabama wanted him. He was rumored to be their number one candidate. According to some reports down at a news station in Eugene, people had sources and boots were on the ground in Tuscaloosa. All right, well, you might have been, whoever your source was, might have been like peeking under the car tire a little bit, looking and just saw boots or shoes. Oh, those are Nikes. Nikes in Portland, and Phil Knight, he's a Duck. Pretty sure those are Dan Lanning's. I better text my guys. Yeah, you might want to look higher than the ankle next time, because Dan Lanning was not in Tuscaloosa. He was not. He was in Eugene, and then a video posted this morning at 9:07, 9:01 a.m. It was 9 a.m. regardless. Let's round down. Dan Lanning, video of a team meeting where he's talking about goals, and your goals are about being where you want to be and setting them right here in Eugene. And the grass ain't always greener. In fact, the grass is pretty darn green in Eugene. So, as Mika pointed out in the YouTube chat, this Duck fan right here could breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, because that was a not fun, not even 24 hours, right? About a half a day. I was locked into the phone all night long. I wake up at 2 o'clock. Okay, I check Twitter. Make sure nothing happened. Okay. He's still a Duck. We're good. Whew. Okay. Go back to bed. Wake up an hour later. Gotta check Twitter. Okay, Dan Lanning, still a Duck. And then again, that video today, he is not going to Alabama. Dan Lanning is still and will remain your Oregon Ducks head coach. And as I talked about with some of my coworkers at my other job, who are former Washington Huskies and obviously big Dog fans, all the pressure is on you now, because now the favorite to land that job with Dan Lanning out of the conversation, many say, is Husky head coach Kalen DeBoer. And you know what? Just for the sake of the Northwest, kind of hope he does what Dan Lanning did. That's right. We don't need your stinking Bama. We'll see what happens. All right, tonight, your Portland Trail Blazers, as I said earlier, are in Oklahoma City to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, the 25-11 Oklahoma City Thunder. And I want to raise a hands if anyone out there actually predicted that come 2024, turn of the calendar, 11 days into the new year, the Oklahoma City Thunder would be the number 2 team in the Western Conference, just a half game back of the Minnesota Timberwolves for the number 1 spot. Raise your hand. I'm looking into the camera. Nope, I can't see anyone in the camera. I'm looking on YouTube. Up, no one's putting up a hand emoji. No one's walking down the halls over here with their hands up. That's because nobody, probably outside of Oklahoma City, predicted they would be this good. Now, I expected them to be a playoff team without a doubt. I was like, hey, they're improving. They're doing well. I got them. I think they might sneak in there. You look at last season, they were a play-in team, won 40 games. A couple teams are getting older, but man, teams got better, right? Phoenix got better. They're definitely going to be one of the top 4 teams in the West. LA, they're going to be hard to knock out of that conversation as long as LeBron James is in the conversation, right? Golden State Warriors, yeah, they're getting old, but they're still Golden State. Man, Memphis, I know Jaw's going to miss a few games, but once he comes back, this is where we are. This is the reality of the situation. The Golden State Warriors, as we'll talk about throughout a little bit later in the show as well, they're a hot mess right now, which is good if you're a Trailblazer fan because the Blazers own that first-round pick of theirs. They are out of playoff conversation right now at 17-20. The Memphis Grizzlies, they had to survive the first 25 games without Ja Morant. Now he is out for the rest of the year after having shoulder surgery, so they're going to continue their tumble. There's 2 teams that we thought would be, at least one team we thought would be really good, and one team we thought would be a playoff team. Yeah, they're struggling. Memphis ain't going anywhere, and Golden State's going backwards. The Lakers, well, they won the in-season tournament, so there's that. But they are just a 500 ball club, and they haven't looked great. They look like a playoff team at times. They don't look like a championship team. In the standings, though, they're just a half game behind the 8th place team, Phoenix Suns, who despite Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant, have not put just a consistent winning formula together. And when good teams or teams you thought were going to be good look bad, other teams step up and do what they should, right? So Minnesota jumps in. They are the number 1 team in the Western Conference, followed by the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then the Denver Nuggets. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I still think Denver is the team to beat. They're the defending champs, right? They're only a game back. They're good. They are good. But you have to give credit to Oklahoma City and Minnesota. And unfortunately for the Trailblazers, they face Oklahoma City tonight, and then they face Minnesota tomorrow. They get the 2 best teams in the conference on back-to-back nights, right? It's, oof. But again, raise your hand if you saw it coming. I don't think anyone did. I thought Minnesota was going to be improved. Didn't think they were going to be number 1. Same with Oklahoma City. I will hang my hat on the fact that I liked the Rudy Gobert trade because I said from day one, oh, you can move Cat to power forward. You can play those 2 together. Oh, yeah, you're stupid. You're an idiot. Why would you? Yeah, they play pretty well together. Who'd have thunk? Oh, I thunk. But again, not raising my hand thinking they were going to be the number 1 team in the West. Not raising my hand thinking Oklahoma City was going to be number 2 team in the West. Oh, this whole time, too, we've ignored the New Orleans Pelicans. We're 23-15 and playing good basketball, too. What a year. What a year. And in the chat right now, in the chat, Kirk was talking about Utah. Utah's coach is a stud. Yeah, he's been pretty well. Utah's doing pretty well, all things considered. You know who else deserves high praise? High praise. Probably won't be in the Coach of the Year convo because the team's not going to finish near the top of the conferences, but definitely should be for what he's done turnaround-wise. Ime Udoka. The Houston Rockets went from being one of and looking like one of the worst teams in basketball last year to a 500 ball club at 18-18. Right now in the play-in conversation, coaching matters, right? He has turned that bad roster into something because they're playing great basketball under him. Also, it also makes you wonder, what about Monty Williams? Is Monty Williams a good or a bad coach? Kind of similar to what we talked about earlier in this show with Chauncey Billups. Hard to tell because that Detroit Pistons roster is so bad. I don't know if Monty Williams is a historically bad coach, despite the record that the Pistons are putting together. Hopefully he can turn that around because I know everyone here in Portland likes him. But yeah, you're talking about coaches who deserve a little bit of praise. what Ime's doing in Houston is great. Mike Brown continuing consistency with Sacramento is great. And then, of course, the top of the West, everyone deserves some praise there. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Blazers.
The truth? It's time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts, presented by Frost Brewed Coors Light, made to chill.
All right, it is now time for your cold hard facts here on Blazers Game Day. And fact number one is Oklahoma City is for real. They're for real. You don't just become a 25-11 team in the first, week and a half of 2024 by accident. I think everyone has been waiting for the fall off, right? They're playing good ball, but they're going to fall off eventually. They're playing good ball, they're going to fall off eventually. Oh, guess what? I don't think they're going to go lose 14 in a row and be 500, in February. They're for real. They have built this thing the right way. They stockpiled picks. They got great young talent. Chet Holmgren was obviously the right move as long as he continues to stay healthy. Jalen Williams has been a great find for them. He's dealing with possible off-the-court stuff, but Josh Giddey is a good basketball player fitting in with them. And more so than anything, SGA, man. SGA. They turned that bad shot by Damian Lillard in the long run to SGA, who might be one of the most electric young guys in this league. He's so darn fun to watch, playing so well. Tom Habistro, the analytics insider for your Portland Trailblazers, who you'll hear during the broadcast today, he has talked about how SGA is his favorite for MVP. Now, I still like Luka Doncic myself, but we do know winning matters, right? And SGA is firmly in that conversation. 31.4 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, 6.4 assists. Stud. Not too bad for Oklahoma City when you get an all-time great point guard for you. Say what you will about him, but his run in OKC was phenomenal. One Russell Westbrook, right? You have him face your franchise, triple-double machine, MVP. And when he moves on, you get a short run with Chris Paul, and then you replace him with SGA. Hopefully, that kind of happens with Portland, right? Hopefully, Scoot Henderson finally pops off and becomes one of the great young players in the league. And I think he can. You know what's interesting? Because we could talk about how good SGA is right now. Because he is. He's been phenomenal. And we could talk about Scoot Henderson and the struggles he has, because a lot of people want to talk about that. Oh, yeah, I mean, he's good, but he's up and he's down and he's struggling here, he's doing that. Let me give you Scoot Henderson's rookie numbers. He's averaging 12.1 points, 2.9 rebounds, 5 assists. Not terrible. I really don't think that's terrible. It's pretty good, honestly. Would you like it to be 20 points and 10 assists? Sure you would. Everybody would. But that's pretty good. And he's doing it in 27.8 minutes per game. So let me say that again. In 27.8 minutes per game, Scoot Henderson's averaging 12.1 points and 5 assists. SGA, his rookie season, 10.8 points, 3.3 assists. Oh, but he didn't play as much. He averaged 26.5 minutes. Played 82 games, started 73 of them. His rookie season, he was a 10-3, or let's round up and down there, 11-3 guy. He was an 11-3 guy his rookie season. Right now, Scoot Henderson is a 12-5 guy with 3 rebounds. So when you see numbers and go, oh, man, he's not scoring enough, and the assist, don't sell this man short. You got to see it progress. You have to see it all the way through. Because what would have happened if you sold low and short on SGA? Oh, he's never going to be good. So the Clippers just decide to, throw him at the end of the bench and they flip him for nothing. No, they saw greatness in him. The Clippers knew he was going to be good. That's why it took him and that raw upside to go get a guy like Paul George. So again, when you look at SGA, who right now, he is in his 6th season, and he is having an incredible year, was an all-star last year, playing like an MVP right now. And you look at his rookie year and look at those numbers. Okay, that 10.8 points and 3.3 assists were actually less than what Scoot Henderson is averaging right now for the Trailblazers. Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, Scoot Henderson's going to be really good, guys. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe we shouldn't make this broad generalization of what his entire career is going to be just 27 games into it. Oh, and keep in mind, it is January 11th. He doesn't turn 20 until February 3rd. He is still just 19 years old. That's incredible. That's incredible. So that's my other cold, hard fact that I told you I'm going to give you every single day. Scoot Henderson's getting better, guys. He's getting better. I don't care if you look at the box score and tell me that he only had 8 points and 4 assists in that loss to the Knicks. It's the little things. Game's slowing down. He's making the right reads. I've talked about this with Chad before. One of the favorite things of mine that he does is I've watched him go in for a floater right there in the paint, miss it, and then bust his tail to get back on defense and stop a fast break before. Make or miss, he turns around, gets in defensive position, gets ready to go. And if you ask Chauncey, people talked to him earlier in the season about that. He thinks that Scoot has potential to be really, really good. Really, really good. So I love it. I love Scoot. I think Scoot is going to be really flipping good. Now, if you want to join in on this conversation, tell me what you think about Scoot. Tell me what you think about anyone else. Head to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. We will pop right up and you can jump in. What you need to do is you need to like, you need to share, you need to subscribe. At least just, subscribe. You don't even need to turn on the notifications. Your phone doesn't need to blow up every time we're live, but at least subscribe. Help us out. And then if you want to, you can join the conversation every single time we go live. We go live for Rip City Mornings with Justin Myers, the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, Courtside Monday with yours truly, and then, of course, Blazers Game Day in the fifth quarter. It's a great way to get in the conversation where Kirk's last comment was, I worry more about Sharp. And I think that's a valid worry because Sharp, you would hope that he takes the big second-year jump, right? And, you want him to get to the 15 points per game. You want him to get to the rebound numbers up. I always compare him to Tracy McGrady, who took some time. Now, Tracy McGrady, keep in mind, he's an all-time great, right? But his rookie year, I think they played a similar game, and his rookie year was about a 7-point game per game exactly. I'm looking at it right now, 9.3 his second year. And it was his third year when he was 20 years old. Boom, jumps up to 15 points per game. And then the next year in Orlando, again, they traded him. Hopefully Portland doesn't trade Sharp right now. 26.8, he's an all-star. So you would like to see the same thing from Shea, right? Right? Well, Shea's at 16.2 points per game and 5 rebounds and 3 assists right now. I think Shea's great. I actually, Kirk, I like him in his role right now where he's coming off the bench. I don't know if that's what it's going to be long-term. Maybe the team moves on from Ant. Maybe the team decides that Sharp is going to be a small forward, which they've tested out a little bit. He has played minutes there. Maybe they move on from Grant. That moves Tamani Kamara to power forward, opens up a spot. I don't know. But right now, I love Shaedon Sharp in the second unit for multiple reasons. I think it allows him to just play a little more loose and free. He's not worried about having to fit in with the starting lineup. It allows him to find his shot. And then secondarily, I love the balance in the fact that it is right now, first unit is Scoot and Ant. And yes, Ant is a combo guy, but I like him at both the 1 and 2, but I like him at the 2 a lot. And you get Ant right next, or Scoot right next to him, passing the ball. But more so, you get your rookie point guard with a vet shooting guard. And then in your secondary rotation, Shea's right there as shooting guard, not next to a rookie point guard. No, he's right there with a vet point guard in Malcolm Brogdon. I think that's big. Until trade deadline when Malcolm Brogdon, is likely traded or at least shopped really, really hard. There are plenty of teams that could use him. I think I saw someone in the chat mention New York. I agree. Philly, I agree. Maybe Milwaukee, Pacers. I mean, there's teams that could use him. There's financially, it's rough. You probably have to involve a third team, but look at what Denver's doing. I think he'd look great in Denver. You can't tell me that there isn't some movement to be had in Golden State, where they said now that everybody not named Steph is on the table. Interesting times in Golden State, right? So there'll be movement. Now, you're not alone, Kirk, in thinking, worrying about Sharp. I just want to get just a little bit more consistency out of him. But I do feel he's been really, really good in that sixth man role, and that will allow him to continue to develop. And again, if it takes him the rest of this season and then next year he makes a huge jump, I'm fine with that. Again, he's just 20 years old. 20. That big jump we talked about with Tracy McGrady, where all of a sudden he's averaging 27 points per game in his fourth year. He's 21. Still older than Shea. Remember, these guys are young right now. Not going to sell any of them short. They're still developing. All right, we're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back,
Homeowners, are you tired of those surprise rate hikes from the electric company? Hey, what's up? It's Tanner, here to let you know that DPI Solar is your solution. Because when you own the power plant, there's no need to worry about rate increases. When you finance your solar array, you know what to expect with your monthly payment. And with upfront cash incentives for solar and battery storage, it's time to take your power back. Beat 2024's 17% rate increase. Act now with DPI Solar. Call 503-857-0099 or check them out online at dpisolar.com. Take your power back today.
It's time for Chad Doing's Keys to the Game, brought to you by Gresham Toyota. At Gresham Toyota, we stand behind our commitment to have the best Toyota pricing in Oregon with our Swickard Price Promise.
Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here, filling in for Chad Doing. It is now time for your keys to the game. And, it's going to be a rough one for the Portland Trail Blazers. They're going to tell you one thing they're going to need to do is they're going to need to be smart with the ball. They're going to need to take good shots. They're going to need to make them at a high clip, right? They did not shoot the ball well against the Knicks at all, just 38.4% from the field, 20% from beyond the arc, and they scored just 84 points, and you cannot do that against Oklahoma City. When you look at the team stats in the NBA right now, the Blazers have the second lowest scoring offense in the league at 108.3. Oklahoma City, they have the number 4 scoring offense at 122.3. That is a 14-point swing. If you are not hitting your shots and you are only shooting 38% from the field and 20% from deep, that 14-point difference is probably going to equal, unfortunately, like we've seen the last few games, 30 by the end of the night. Got to take advantage, find open shots, make open shots, and at least you'll be able to stay in the game. Maybe sneak one out. Crazier things have happened, man. It's the NBA. We'll see what happens. Another key to this one, I want to see the Blazers attack the rim. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive because the Oklahoma City Thunder currently are tied with the Boston Celtics for the league lead in blocked shots per game at 6.4. But it's kind of the same thing I said when the Blazers played against the Spurs. You got a guy in Scoot Henderson who's really, really good at getting to the rim. Needs to work on his finishing and a little bit of confidence, but he's good at getting there. You got a guy in Ant who has proven more than once, and a guy in Shea who has proven multiple times as well that they can attack and live above the rim. Attack Chet Holmgren. Is he going to get a couple block shots if you do? Of course. He's been really good on that end. But you know what else could happen? He could get in foul trouble. And if you get him in foul trouble and out of the paint, that's going to open things up in the long run. Maybe the defense starts sagging in a little bit. They start crashing. You start hitting Jeremy Grant on the outside for open threes, and you start, again, getting back to that first key, those open shots, right? And then my last key is simply just take care of the ball. Take care of the ball. The assist numbers have been low for the Blazers. They have been all year. But a lot of that, too, is just too many turnovers. You cannot continue to turn the ball over at such a high clip and expect to have any semblance of consistency within your offense, right? Take care of the ball, make crisp passes, and also get out and run. If you can get out and run, I think you're going to be in a good spot as well. Now, unfortunately, on the injury front, we did talk about just a second ago how I really like Shaedon Sharpe in the second unit next to Malcolm Brogdon, because it gives you that rookie and a vet next to each other in both the starting and the bench rotation, and I do like that a lot. But unfortunately tonight, Malcolm Brogdon will not be playing. The injury report last night had Moses Brown out, Robert Williams out, obviously. He's out for the year. DeAndre Ayton listed as doubtful with right knee tendonitis, and Jabari Walker questionable with left knee tendonitis. An update from Blazers beat reporter Casey Holdall is that both DeAndre Ayton and Jabari Walker are now listed as out, and Malcolm Brogdon is also out for rest. So the dreaded R word on the injury report, rest. Malcolm Brogdon will not play tonight. So that's going to, really mean that the Blazers might have to lean on Skylar May's minutes. Oh, wait. He's not a Blazer anymore. He's down there on a two-way contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. So things will be tested. Maybe this is one of those nights that hopefully, if you're not getting blown out, you're going to see just a big run from Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson. That means Anthony Simons is going to get a lot of minutes at point guard tonight alongside Shaedon Sharpe. Maybe, obviously, just because of that, Rupert or Chris Murray, whichever one you can get into those minutes. Thibault's going to play some of those shooting guard minutes as well as you get Ant in. back to a lot of those point guard minutes, whether that's with the starting unit or not. I don't know if we've seen an official starting unit. Maybe you move things around because, Brogdon out does hurt your rotation quite a bit. But again, keys to the game. If you could do those things, like I said, then I think you can at least stay in this one. I think winning this game, I think, is going to be tough. And that's not a Blazer problem. That's an OKC problem, right? That is an OKC problem because they are 25 and 11 on the season, meaning teams don't beat them very often, right? Over their last handful of games, they have lost to the Nets and the Hawks. They have
Father, here we are. Another year has come and gone. Just think of all the games we've watched, all the radio shows, and the time spent together. I can't believe how quickly it goes by.
I love the new year.